Welcome to China. Welcome to China. If someone told you there was a country where an ancient wall stretches farther than the distance from New York to Los Angeles, where entire cities appear to have been built for a science fiction movie, and where some of the world's most ambitious engineering projects stand beside monuments built over 2,000 years ago, you might think they're exaggerating. They're not. This is China, a country so vast and so diverse that traveling from one region to another can feel like traveling between completely different worlds. Over the next few chapters, we're going to explore some of the most extraordinary places on Earth. And by the end of this journey, you may never look at China the same way again. Our journey begins with a structure so enormous that for centuries, people believed it could be seen from space. A claim that isn't actually true. But honestly, after seeing it for yourself, you'll understand why so many people believed it. The first thing that surprises most people about the Great Wall of China is that it isn't actually one wall. It's a vast network of walls, fortresses, watchtowers, and defensive structures built over many centuries. And together, they stretch for more than 13,000 miles. To put that into perspective, that's farther than the distance between New York and Beijing. Construction began over 2,000 years ago, long before bulldozers, long before electricity, long before modern engineering even existed. Yet somehow, ancient builders managed to create one of the largest structures humanity has ever attempted. But the Great Wall was never just about keeping enemies out. It was about projecting power, sending a message, creating a physical symbol of a civilization determined to survive. And survive it did. Empires rose and collapsed. Dynasties came and went. Wars were fought. Borders changed. Yet the Great Wall remained. Even today, walking along these ancient stones feels strangely emotional, because you're not just looking at history, you're standing inside it. And yet, despite thousands of years of study, the Great Wall still holds mysteries. Archaeologists continue discovering previously unknown sections. Local legends speak of ghostly soldiers guarding remote mountain passes, and historians still debate how certain portions were built under such extreme conditions. But perhaps the most surprising thing about China isn't what people built thousands of years ago. It's what they're building now. Because our next destination asks a very unusual question. What happens when architects decide that walking on solid ground is simply too boring? Watch videos of people crossing China's glass bridges, and you'll notice something interesting. Almost everyone stops, not because they want to, because their brain refuses to accept what their eyes are seeing. Below them, nothing, just hundreds of feet of empty space, and beneath their shoes, transparent glass. China's glass bridges aren't simply tourist attractions. They're psychological experiments disguised as engineering projects. Designed to challenge fear, perception, and human instinct, these structures have become some of the country's most popular destinations. The experience is strange. You know the glass is strong. You know it's safe. You know thousands of people have crossed before you. And yet every instinct in your body tells you not to take another step. But eventually, something changes. Fear gives way to curiosity. Then curiosity gives way to awe. Because once you stop looking down, you start noticing the view. Mountains stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Clouds drifting beneath your feet. Entire valleys unfolding below you. And suddenly, what began as fear became something unforgettable. Of course, building bridges in the sky is impressive, but what if an entire city felt like it shouldn't exist? There are cities that grow outward, there are cities that grow upward, and then there's Chongqing, a city so unusual that first-time visitors often spend their first few hours convinced they've somehow entered the future. Home to more than 30 million people, Chongqing is built across mountains, rivers, cliffs, and valleys. Traditional urban planning simply doesn't work here. So the city evolved its own rules, or perhaps no rules at all. Roads exist on multiple levels. Buildings appear stacked on top of mountains. Entire neighborhoods exist dozens of stories above street level. And yes, there really is a train that passes directly through a residential building. At first glance, Chongqing feels chaotic, but look closer. Every bridge, every highway, every skyscraper, every subway line, all of it works together in a way that somehow makes sense. Then night arrives, and that's when Chongqing becomes something else entirely. Millions of lights illuminate the city. Massive skyscrapers disappear into low clouds. Bridges glow across the Yangtze River. And suddenly, it becomes easy to understand why people compare Chongqing to the fictional cities of Blade Runner and Cyberpunk 2077. Except this city isn't fiction, it's real, and perhaps that's the most unbelievable part. Still, even Chongqing isn't China's most famous skyline. For that, we travel east, to a city that may represent the future of urban civilization itself. If cities had personalities, Shanghai's would be an ambition. Everything here feels bigger, faster, higher, more futuristic. And nowhere is that more obvious than along the city's famous skyline. Rising above it all is the Shanghai Tower. At nearly 2,100 feet tall, it's the second tallest building on Earth. But what makes the tower remarkable isn't just its height, it's the philosophy behind it. Its twisting shape reduces wind resistance. Its double-layered glass exterior improves energy efficiency. Its design represents a future where architecture isn't merely about building taller, it's about building smarter. But the real magic of Shanghai begins after sunset. As darkness falls, thousands of buildings illuminate simultaneously. Neon lights reflect across the Huangpu River. The city transforms into one of the most spectacular urban landscapes ever created. Yet perhaps the most fascinating thing about Shanghai is that despite all its futuristic ambition, the city never completely abandoned its past. Just across the river, historic architecture from another era still stands, a reminder that every future is built on history. And speaking of unforgettable skylines, there's one city that many people believe surpasses them all. Ask photographers to name the greatest skyline on Earth. Many will give you the same answer: Hong Kong. And once you see it, it's difficult to argue. Unlike most major cities, Hong Kong wasn't built on flat land. It was built between mountains and the sea, and that changed everything. Skyscrapers were forced upward, higher, closer, more dramatic. The result is a skyline unlike any other. Then comes sunset. Lights begin appearing in thousands of windows. Neon signs illuminate entire districts. Ships move silently through Victoria Harbor. And the city transforms into something almost impossible to describe. The view from Victoria Peak isn't just beautiful, it's overwhelming. Because what you're witnessing isn't simply architecture. It's the result of millions of people, generations of ambition, and decades of extraordinary growth. But perhaps Hong Kong teaches us something even more important. The most incredible places on Earth aren't always ancient. They aren't always natural. Sometimes they're built. And our journey through China is only getting started. Because next, we'll visit a city that transformed from a fishing village into a global technology superpower. Travel along one of the world's most important rivers, and witness an engineering project so enormous that it changed the geography of an entire nation. If the first part of our journey showed us China's past and present, this chapter reveals something even more extraordinary: a glimpse into the future. Because over the last few decades, China has accomplished something that many experts once thought was impossible. It built entirely new cities, transformed ancient trading centers into global megacities, and constructed engineering projects so massive that they altered the landscape itself. Our next destination may be the greatest example of that transformation anywhere on Earth. In 1979, Shenzhen was home to fewer than 60,000 people. Today, more than 17 million people live here. Let that sink in for a moment. In less than half a century, a small fishing town transformed into one of the world's most technologically advanced cities. There are ancient cities. There are modern cities. And then there is Shenzhen, a city that feels like it's operating several years ahead of everyone else. Walk through Shenzhen today, and you'll notice something unusual. Electric vehicles dominate the streets. Autonomous technologies are tested in public. Robotics, artificial intelligence, and next-generation manufacturing aren't concepts of the future here. They're simply part of daily life. And unlike many cities that grew slowly over centuries, Shenzhen seems to have emerged almost overnight. Its skyline continues to evolve. New skyscrapers appear. Entire districts transform. And every year, the city pushes itself further into the future. Some economists have called Shenzhen one of the greatest urban transformations in human history. Standing here, surrounded by towers of glass and steel, it's hard to disagree. But Shenzhen isn't China's only city that successfully combines history with innovation. For that, we travel west, to one of China's oldest and most influential cities. more than 2,000 years, Guangzhou has served as one of China's gateways to the world. Long before airplanes, long before railways, and long before skyscrapers, merchants from across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe traveled here to trade goods, ideas, and cultures. Today, Guangzhou remains one of China's most important cities. But modern Guangzhou is perhaps best known for something impossible to ignore: the Canton Tower. Rising nearly 2,000 feet into the sky, the Canton Tower is one of the tallest structures on Earth. Its twisting design creates an illusion of movement, as though the tower itself is alive. During the day, it dominates the skyline. At night, it transforms. Millions of lights illuminate its steel frame, turning the tower into a constantly changing work of art. From the observation decks, visitors witness one of the largest urban regions on the planet, stretching endlessly into the distance. And perhaps that's what makes Guangzhou so fascinating. It doesn't force you to choose between the past and the future. Instead, it embraces both. But no city, no matter how advanced, would exist without one thing: water. And nowhere in China is that more important than our next destination. Long before China became one of the world's largest economies, long before emperors built palaces and armies marched across continents, there was the Yangtze River. Stretching nearly 4,000 miles from the glaciers of western China to the East China Sea, the Yangtze is the longest river in Asia and one of the most important waterways in human history. For thousands of years, it has shaped civilizations, fed populations, connected empires, and inspired generations of poets, philosophers, and explorers. To understand China, many historians argue that you must first understand the Yangtze, because this river isn't simply geography, it's history, its culture, and its identity. Traveling along the Yangtze reveals a constantly changing landscape. Ancient villages stand beside modern cities. Towering mountains rise above hidden temples. Cargo ships pass through waterways that have served traders for thousands of years. And nowhere is the scale of the Yangtze more apparent than within the legendary Three Gorges. For centuries, travelers described these cliffs as among the most beautiful landscapes on Earth. But in the 20th century, humanity decided to attempt something unprecedented: to reshape the river itself. What followed became one of the most ambitious engineering projects ever undertaken. Up to this point, we've explored China's ancient civilizations, futuristic megacities, and engineering marvels. But now, our journey takes a dramatic turn. Because some of China's most extraordinary places weren't built by emperors, engineers, or architects. They were created by nature itself, over millions of years. And in some cases, what nature created looks so impossible that people often assume the images must be fake. Our first destination became famous around the world for exactly that reason. The first-time director James Cameron saw photographs of Zhangjiajie, he reportedly found inspiration for one of the most iconic landscapes in movie history: the floating mountains of Avatar. And once you see Zhangjiajie for yourself, it's easy to understand why. Thousands of giant sandstone pillars rise dramatically from the earth, piercing through layers of mist and cloud. Some stand over 3,500 feet tall. Others appear to float entirely on their own. Scientists estimate these formations began forming more than 300 million years ago. Over countless ages, wind, rain, geological pressure, and erosion sculpted these mountains into something that feels almost impossible. But what makes Zhangjiajie truly extraordinary isn't just its geology. It's the atmosphere. Clouds drift silently through the valleys. Entire mountain peaks disappear and reappear within minutes. One moment, you're standing in bright sunlight. The next, you're surrounded by a world of fog and shadow. It's no surprise that local legends once described this region as a place where spirits lived among the clouds. And then there's the glass bridge. Stretching across a massive canyon, suspended hundreds of feet above the ground, it challenges visitors to do something their instincts desperately tell them not to do: look down. For some people, the experience lasts a few minutes. For others, the memory lasts forever. But astonishingly, Zhangjiajie is not the strangest landscape China has to offer, because our next destination appears to have been painted by an artist, not created by nature. If someone showed you a photograph of China's Rainbow Mountains without context, you'd probably assume it had been edited. In reality, no editing is necessary. This is exactly what the landscape looks like. Located in Gansu Province, the Zhangye Rainbow Mountains represent one of the most unusual geological formations ever discovered. Layer after layer of mineral-rich sandstone accumulated over millions of years. Then, tectonic forces pushed these layers upward. Wind and rain slowly revealed what had been hidden beneath the earth. The result is extraordinary. Vast mountain ranges painted with reds, oranges, yellows, blues, and greens. At sunrise, they glow. At sunset, they become even more vibrant. And after rainfall, they almost seem alive. Scientists understand how these mountains formed. But understanding something and truly believing it are two very different things. Because standing here, looking across a landscape that resembles an oil painting stretched across the horizon, reality itself feels questionable. And yet, somehow, our next destination may be even more beautiful. There are places that impress you. There are places that surprise you. And then there are places that leave you completely speechless. Jiuzhaigou Valley belongs firmly in the third category. Nestled high in the mountains of Sichuan Province, this UNESCO World Heritage Site has been called one of the most beautiful places on Earth. And for once, that description may actually be accurate. Crystal-clear lakes shimmer in impossible shades of turquoise and emerald. Waterfalls cascade through ancient forests. Snow-covered mountains tower in the distance. every direction reveals another scene that seems too perfect to be real. Perhaps that's why local Tibetan legends offer a different explanation. According to one story, a goddess accidentally dropped her magical mirror. The mirror shattered into hundreds of pieces, and each fragment became one of Jiuzhaigou's stunning lakes. It's a beautiful story, and honestly, standing here, it feels almost believable, because nature rarely creates places this perfect. But China's next landscape has inspired artists and poets for over 1,000 years, and once you see it, you'll understand why. Ask someone to picture traditional Chinese scenery. Chances are, they're imagining Guilin. The landscape surrounding the Li River has become one of China's most recognizable images. Not because of tourism, but because for centuries, artists believed it represented the perfect harmony between humanity and nature. Towering limestone peaks rise dramatically from the earth. Morning mist drifts silently across the river. Fishing boats glide through landscapes that appear almost unchanged by time. There's a reason ancient Chinese poets described Guilin's scenery as the finest under heaven. Because unlike many beautiful places, Guilin doesn't overwhelm you. It slows you down. The experience isn't dramatic, it's peaceful. Every turn of the river reveals another impossible view, another mountain, another reflection, another reminder that sometimes simplicity creates the greatest beauty of all. But if Guilin represents tranquility, our final destination represents something far more mysterious, a place where mountains rise above the clouds themselves. Throughout this journey, we've traveled across ancient empires, futuristic megacities, engineering marvels, and landscapes so extraordinary they almost seemed fictional. But our final chapter may be the most unforgettable of all. Because now, we're entering a world where history, mystery, beauty, and human ambition intersect. Where emperors prepared for the afterlife with underground armies, and where the highest mountain on Earth reminds us just how small we really are. Our first destination exists for only a few weeks each year, and then, almost as quickly as it appeared, it vanishes. There are places that preserve history, and then there are places that seem to exist outside of time itself. Fenghuang ancient town is one of those places. Nestled among the mountains of Hunan province, Fenghuang has remained remarkably unchanged for hundreds of years. Its name translates to phoenix, and according to local legend, 2 phoenix birds became so captivated by the beauty of this place that they refused to leave. Standing here, it's difficult not to understand why. Ancient wooden houses rise above the river on stilts. Stone pathways wind through narrow alleyways, Red lanterns illuminate the town after sunset, and everywhere you look, there is a sense that modern life has somehow slowed down. Perhaps that's why so many visitors describe Fenghuang not as a tourist destination, but as an experience. A reminder of what cities once felt like. A reminder that sometimes beauty comes not from what changes, but from what remains the same. But while Fenghuang preserved the lives of ordinary people, our next destination was built for emperors. And for centuries, almost nobody was allowed to enter. For nearly 500 years, this was the center of one of the most powerful empires on Earth. Welcome to the Forbidden City. Located in the heart of Beijing, this enormous palace complex served as the home of Chinese emperors from 1420 until the early 20th century. For ordinary citizens, entering these walls was once forbidden. Hence the name, the Forbidden City. And the scale is astonishing. Nearly 1,000 buildings, more than 180 acres, thousands upon thousands of rooms, every detail carefully designed to communicate one message: power. Golden roofs reflected imperial authority. Massive gates symbolized strength. Perfect symmetry represented harmony between heaven and earth. For centuries, decisions made within these walls influenced the lives of hundreds of millions of people. Yet despite centuries of research, mysteries remain. Hidden chambers, lost treasures, secret passages, stories that historians continue searching for even today. But perhaps China's greatest historical mystery remained hidden underground for more than 2,000 years. Until one accidental discovery changed history forever. In 1974, a group of farmers digging a well made one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in human history. Buried beneath the earth stood an army. Thousands of soldiers, frozen in time, waiting. For over 2,000 years, the Terracotta Army had remained hidden beneath the soil of Shanxi province. Constructed to protect China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in the afterlife, this underground army continues to astonish archaeologists and visitors alike. More than 8,000 warriors have been discovered, hundreds of horses, dozens of chariots, and perhaps most remarkably, no two faces appear exactly alike. Every soldier was crafted individually, each expression, each hairstyle, each detail, unique. Even after decades of excavation, experts believe large portions of the emperor's tomb remain unopened. And that's because historians believe what lies beneath may be even more extraordinary than what we've already discovered. What exactly remains hidden? No one knows. And perhaps some mysteries are powerful precisely because they remain unsolved. But after thousands of years of history and mystery, our next destination offers something very different: silence, beauty, and reflection. And now, our journey reaches its final destination, the highest point on Earth. are mountains. And then there is Mount Everest. Rising 29,032 feet above sea level, Everest stands higher than any other place on Earth. And while many people know the mountain from Nepal, the Tibetan side reveals a completely different experience. One that many travelers describe as spiritual. The journey itself feels otherworldly. Endless plateaus, frozen landscapes, thin air, silence. Then, eventually, you see it. Mount Everest. No photograph truly prepares you. No documentary fully captures its scale. No description adequately explains what it feels like to stand beneath the highest mountain on Earth. For centuries, Everest has inspired explorers, adventurers, dreamers, and scientists. Some reached the summit, many never returned. But everyone who encounters this mountain leaves with the same realization. Human beings are capable of extraordinary things, yet nature remains infinitely greater. And perhaps that's the perfect way to end our journey through China. Because China itself is a study in contrasts. Ancient and futuristic, natural and engineered, peaceful and powerful, mysterious and magnificent. It's a country where history stretches back thousands of years, and where the future is being built every single day. A place where every destination tells a different story, and where every journey reveals another impossible wonder. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey across China. Which destination surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for our next journey. Because somewhere in the world, another impossible wonder is waiting to be discovered.